Welcome to Just Minding My Business Media, LLC. When you wake up in the morning with an attitude of gratitude, it will change the trajectory of your thoughts and the outcome of your day. Today, we welcome to the mic Nancy Aragbaye, who is the founder of Strategic Solutions, LLC, and an author, speaker, and entrepreneur. For more than 10 years, Nancy has designed, developed, and implemented new programs and ideas to help businesses succeed. She consults nationally and internationally to provide fresh ideas and strategic guidance to companies to obtain their desired outcomes. Nancy is known for her unique perspectives and strategies to help a business refocus, recenter, and resume with increased efficiency. At a time in which her knowledge and expertise is needed more than ever, we are extremely pleased to welcome Nancy Aragbaye to Just Minding My Business Media, LLC.
Wow. Welcome, 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 Nancy. So glad to have you here.
It's such a pleasure to be on here this evening. So thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So I'm one of those type of people that like to know how you arrived to where you are today.
All right. Oh, well, I'm the person that likes to tell the whole story. So this is wonderful.
Awesome.
Yeah, I tell people my story begins really as a child. And I like to tell people since the age of 5, I've always had a passion for people, a service. I mean, I wanted to be a humanitarian at the age of 5. And for a 5-year-old, that is a little strange goal. Typically, you don't hear a 5-year-old say they want to be a humanitarian. You might hear doctor, lawyer, teacher. But I've just always had a heart for people. And, you know, just as I grew up, I just started to think about the world differently. And I've always just been a person who believed in justice. I stood up for people in schools. And when I was a child, bullies always got on my nerves, and I would actually bully the bullies because I just didn't believe they should be messing with people. So I always stood up for people who never had a voice for themselves. Always been an advocate. So fast forward, I wanted to go to law school so I can be an advocate and just get into law and figure, you know, what I could do to serve. But I came across a program called Teach for America, and that changed everything and is a part of what I do today. And so when I started to understand the education system a little bit more, I was like, okay, there's some education inequity that's currently present. And I decided to just serve in an impoverished community. So I spent the majority of my time in Atlanta, Georgia, where I taught in inner cities throughout just metro Atlanta, I would say. And I started to understand the education system more. And I started to also have a love for children even more. And I realized one day that me being in the classroom, I said, yes, we need great teachers in the classroom, but I was a problem solver. And I was like, me being a teacher, that's not enough. More needs to be done. And I thought about my kids, and I had one boy in particular. I'll never forget him. His name's Devarius. And he got kicked out of math class, and he came into my classroom. I said, Devarius, why are you not doing your math work? He said, I don't want to be a doctor. And in that moment, I was heartbroken. I was like, okay, somehow we failed him because he thinks he needs math to be a doctor. I said, well, what do you want to be? He said, a barber. And I said, well, what if you can open up a barber shop? And it was like a light bulb went off for him. And I kid you not, it changed him as a child. Like, he went from flipping desks in teachers' classrooms to walking around with a book in his hand. I have a picture of him literally walking in the hallways with a book.
What an awesome thing.
I'm serious. And I said, okay, this is not enough for me. Like, why are we not creating a space in the education system that cultivates innovation, that cultivates entrepreneurship. I'm a product of college. I loved my HBCU, Tuskegee University. But at the same time, everyone's not going to college. And that's the reality of our world. There are people who are innovators. There are entrepreneurs. There are people who want to be investors. So why are we not creating this space? And so at that time, I was consulting part-time. And I also realized that there were adults that they were lacking core business skills, entrepreneurship. It's kind of like you wing it until you figure it out.
Right.
Just wing it and you figure it out. But I was like, what if there was a place or a space that could teach people what they need, shortcut, practical skills, so they can make it in the entrepreneurship world? And I started to think even deeper. I wrote a grant for my school. And when I was studying the Atlanta area, I realized that about 25% of African Americans within the Metro Atlanta system were in poverty. And I was like, okay, this is not good at all. 4% had a chance of escaping. So I said, okay, so if you are born in poverty, you pretty much die in poverty. That's not okay for me. So then I began to think about what truly drives economic mobility. And that's how I came along with business. I said, business is the solution. Small businesses truly drive the economic mobility within a community. So I said, we need to start figuring out, especially in Black and Brown communities, how do we begin to employ one another? Because most entrepreneurs, especially in the Black community, they're solopreneurs. We don't have businesses where we're really employing multiple people within a community. And so it changed everything for me. And that's how Strategic Solutions was birthed. And I said, we're not just going to focus on business solutions. We're going to focus on the financial solutions as well. So everything I do is research-based. I said, why do most businesses fail? I discovered most businesses fail within 50% fell within 5 years. That's still a pretty new business. 20% in the very first year. I said, okay, and it's even greater for the African American community. Mm-hmm. So I said, okay, we need proper business planning and strategy, and we also need financial solutions. We need financial resources. And so that's how I developed a framework called the Black Model, where I teach business development, I teach leadership development, I teach asset acquisition, how do you acquire assets and put them in your business name, and then how to develop a business credit profile. So the entire framework, if mastered, you are combating the business side of things, the business literacy, as well as the financial literacy within business. And so I'm so excited. And we most recently launched our youth business program. So I teach adults, I would say. I consult with adults, but I consider it teaching. And children are getting ready to have access to this program as well. So we have a program, it's a 2-week program, and it's being released this October. So I'm very excited.
Wow, that is awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, where are you based? Are you based in Atlanta?
Yes, I'm based in Atlanta. It's really interesting because I'm in Los Angeles now. So I work from my laptop. So our program is all virtual, but I do live in the Atlanta area, but I call myself a global citizen.
Yes, we're a global company as well because we get to hear the voices and see the faces of people all around the world. And so we definitely get you on that one. Mm-hmm. So give us, our audience, a little snippet about what they can expect from your educational program. So I'm a customer. I'm coming to see you. What can I expect?
Yeah. Okay. So you're going to expect one, a level of intimacy. We're very personable. Everyone that works with my organization. So that's the first thing. I'm like, at the end of the day, we're all humans. So that's first. But as far as the business side, it's very a personalized approach because business is a spectrum. And I tell people, depending on your outcome, what's the vision? Everyone, I don't care if you've been in business for 10 years or you've been in business for 5 days or 10 days. I want to know your vision because depending upon what your vision is will depend on the strategy that our company would advise you on and where you start, right? So there's different pillars. We have the B, which is business development, L, leadership development, asset acquisition, and the business credit profile. So depending on where you are in business, how much you're currently generating, what your cash flow is, will advise you based off of where you currently are and where you're trying to head. So I would say very personalized. So I tell people it's definitely not a one size fits all. We are differentiating like our approach to business success.
Mhm. So, my question would be, how would you advise someone to prepare to come to see you? What do they need to bring with them to the table?
Uh, yeah, I tell people, you know, it's very important to be clear on what you want for your company. So I tell people, come with a vision. And that's just start with your vision. That's all you need, right? And your cash flow, you know. So what are you currently making? And
Mhm.
then where's your company headed in the next 5 years? And sometimes people actually come to me and they're not clear with that. But when they come to me, that's the starting point for me. I cannot advise you if I don't know where you're headed. It's just not effective.
Do you find that many people who come to you or that you speak to actually are not clear on their vision? They've never sat down and really fine-tuned where they want to be in 5, 10 years, or just
Yes.
in general, what their vision is for their business.
It's interesting. And I guess because I'm coming out of a teaching space, I've always had the end in mind when you're thinking about teaching kids a curriculum. But I was very surprised about how many people, even I've sat down with $1 million businesses. I call them $1 million side hustles because they're so stuck in the day to day. There are so many people who have not thought deeply of where they want their organization to be in 5 to 10 years. And I tell them, if you have not planned for your impact, how do you intend to actually make it happen? It's one thing to wish and say you want something to manifest, and it's another thing to actually go make it happen. And so I get joy in bringing that clarity and that the stillness for business owners to say, hey, what we're going to do is sit down and get very clear about the direction of where we're going, because your vision essentially is your compass. And so there's so many business owners that have not done that. And I would advise them, you make sure you know where you're headed in the next 5 to 10 years.
Mhm.
So is that the same thing as doing a business plan, or is that slightly different, gaining that clarity?
It's slightly different. Your plan is not necessarily where you want your vision to be in 5 to 10 years, because your business plan can change even from year to year. It can change from 3 years to 5 years. It's really around the how are you going to obtain, the vision that you want for yourself. But when I say, where do you want to be in 5 years? I tell people, I want you to plan your impact. How many people are you impacting in 5 years? Is it 1 billion? Is it 1 million? Is it 500,000? What countries or country are you in? What are the regions that you serve? Who are you sitting with? Just really getting very clear about the direction of their company. Do you want to incorporate technology? I mean, there's so many things. And so when we sit down, I even ask people, how much do you want to make in 5 years? I had one person tell me 1 billion. I said, great. I wrote it down. Okay, what do you make in year 4? She said another, year 3, all the way to year 1. And she said, oh my gosh, didn't even think about how to map that out. And so it's definitely different than a business plan. I think it allows you to really do the reverse engineering and see that actually that 5 years is not a lot of it's not a lot of time when you break it
No,
down.
it's not. It flies so quickly. For sure. And I like that approach because, and Ruth, you're so right. A lot of people don't have clarity around it. They're doing a business and they making money and they moving doing the day to day, but they really don't have a vision
Mm-mm. Nope.
as to how they want their business to impact the world.
Yes.
And I like that word impact.
I
You
do
don't
too.
hear that often uh, in people when they talk about business. They talk about perhaps their vision, perhaps service, but what type of impact? That's a whole different avenue of thought.
Mm-hmm.
What is it that you want your business to actually do? And it's not always about the money. The money will come, but you've got to think about that too. But impact, Can you talk more about that? Because I don't think it's something that people really think about. What do you want your business to do for people? How do you want to come out of the gate? In 5 years, how do you want to be perceived?
Mm-hmm. When I think about my business and I speak with other business owners and I think about their business, I truly I think about solving a problem. I think about changing and transforming people's lives. And that's what I mean by impact. I believe that, God has given me a gift, my ability to think, and the programs that I'm able to design. I can design programs that are really effective, that have an ability to change someone's life. And for me, that's what I want to serve. So I think as business is serving. And I tell people, when you chase impact, the income follows. What are you giving to somebody? And then in exchange, they say, hey, here is a certain amount of dollars that you can have because you've been able to change my life in a positive way. I think that's how business owners need to think. If you put the dollar first, I do not see you being around long term. If you put
No.
people first
Mhm.
and their needs first, you'll always have someone coming to you because they're thankful and believe in what you can do for them. And that's the mindset that I think all business owners should have.
I have to agree. I always say take the money away
Mhm.
because that's going to show the real grit of what it is you're trying to do. Because if you go, and I'm so glad you said that because a lot of people think about the money first,
Mhm.
and the money is last, actually.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I heard you say something else, and thank you for that, Ida. You also said people's needs.
Mhm.
You serve people's needs. And the reverse of that is you go after the money. So, right now, in this current economic climate, because everybody was impacted and is being impacted by the pandemic, as someone who designs programs to serve people, what are some of the principal needs that you are finding people have? If that's a clear question for you.
Yeah, but my mind was like, "Ooh, there are so many needs." But if I bring it strictly just back to what I do, there is a need. I believe in to empower people. People need to feel empowered. Number one, and believe, especially in this current time, that they are able to do. And for me, I want to empower business owners. I want to empower women to feel that they too can create and they too can optimize an idea that they have. I
Mhm.
think that people need education, and it's beyond math and science. I think business literacy is a real thing that is completely missing. And I think people need access to finances,
Hmm.
financial resources. And it's so unfortunate that the system that we currently live in does not serve people and give them what they need, because finding financial resources, especially during this time, is hard, especially on Black and Brown communities. And so these things are not taught in school. So where else are they going to learn it, especially if you come from a community that does not have. And so I have thought about this deeply. It's like, no, I want to solve a problem. People need money, and people need hope, and people need to be empowered, and they need business literacy skills so they can create and generate businesses that can then generate income for their families and other people's families as well.
Okay.
Yes,
Again,
absolutely.
one of those great words that you keep putting out there, and it's the word creativity.
Mm-hmm.
In your programs, how do you help, or are you able to help people to tap into their creativity so that they can start to imagine a different world for themselves, a different life? Is there something specific that you do?
Yeah, I tell them it starts one, what are you passionate about? And I ask them to connect it to a problem. Is there anything? So I take your gifts and your passion. Is there anything that you have identified in the world that you believe needs to change? because I think that's where creativity kicks in. I used to think I wasn't creative as a child because I was like, man, if I did a beauty pageant, what would I do? I can't dance really. I mean, a little bit. I'm like, I can't knit, and I'm like, I'm not creative. I used to think that. And I'm like, no, I have an ability to think. And I believe thinking is actually really creative. And so ideas are so powerful. It's creativity. So I tell people, you have a gift, innate gift that you were born with. And what are your passions? And how do you align the two? And then from there, this is where ideas come. And what's a problem that you see in the world? Now let's create a solution, because business is simply a solution. And so that's what I've been able to do in my whole entire life. And I never knew that I was creating, but I'm telling you, I've been designing programs since I was a child, but I just never knew what I was doing. But designing.
That's amazing.
That is amazing.
I love it when I hear someone say that they have been doing something from childhood. They knew what they wanted to do. So it's amazing that you have taken that and you didn't let go of it, and you continue it to this day. So I apologize, Ida. I will be quiet.
No. These are excellent questions. I mean, people want to know. People may have the same questions, so I'm just happy that we're getting questions answered. Now, how do people connect with you?
Literally, or like my
to your business, how do they get connected with your company and take advantage of your services that you provide?
Yeah, so I definitely do consultations, and so our website, which we just updated, is strategic-solutions.global. But you're able to schedule a free consultation with me. I'm very active on social media. So we have a Facebook page, we have a LinkedIn page, and also Instagram. So anyone is always able to just send a DM. And again, I'm very active with people. I'm a connector. And so they can also email me at nancy@strategicsolutionsllc.org. And I'm more than happy to connect. And again, I have free consultations for people, because I think people need to know where they are before they can then decide on what they need. I'm just a voice to help them and guide them, but I think they should know where they are and what is possible for them.
Okay, so you talked about your youth program.
Yes, I'm so excited.
Yes, I'm excited as well, because I feel like we need to definitely work with our youth and guide them. It's all of our responsibilities as adults to make sure that they make it, whether you have children or not. I believe that we're responsible for our children. So with your program, what can kids expect coming into your program?
I think what they'll get is a aha surprise. And I did a pilot last summer, and I told a group of 10-year-olds, you don't have to wait to be an entrepreneur, right? And they were like, what? Really? I said, you can start right now. You can start right now. And so I think they'll one, get the spark. And I love children because they still have that innocence and creativity within them, the curiosity. It's actually easier than adults. For them, their brain's like, wow, I can do so much. But they'll get the basic practical skills of entrepreneurship. Again, really understanding that they have the power to solve a problem, planting that seed, understanding what branding is, how to market, what's a target audience. And I think it's very important, especially in today's time, for our youth to understand the power of technology. And because of technology, it allows you to have global access. You can actually have people in other countries with your products and your services. And so our students in the Youth Business Academy will have access to that.
All right. So same location in terms of people, if they want their children to be involved in your program.
So this is a little different. It's not yet in the US. So next year, our hope is to be in 6 countries. So this year in 2021, we're launching with It's called Mentor Her Ghana. So we'll be in Ghana this October. I'm working with a nonprofit, and they have about 40 girls. So what I've done is actually partner with nonprofits because they have access to children already. I'm working on partnering with a school here in Atlanta, Georgia. So next year we will be in Ghana, we'll be in Gambia, we'll be in Nigeria, and I'm working on Malaysia and Morocco, and then of course here in the U.S. So it's not accessible to the entire youth population in the world yet. I'm going through program, and then from there we're working on building like a online school basically for the youth, but it's not yet here. It's in my brain right now.
So fabulous. Fabulous.
We know it's coming.
It's coming for sure. For the kids. I love the kids. It's definitely coming.
Yes, yes. Wow. This has been such a blast, Nancy.
Yeah. So
Thank you.
I just have one more question, quick question. So I'm hearing there is language that's involved too. So you have Gambia, Ghana, Nigeria, and then you're going to have Malaysia. And what was the fifth one? Morocco. So are they all going to be English speaking, or are they going to also work in their own native language?
Right now, the curriculum is taught in English. We have not yet expanded to where we're able to do it in other languages. But again, my hope is that it's a program that, train the trainer model. And so someone in another country who speaks a different language could ultimately teach the curriculum to other students in their native tongue.
Very fine. All right. Thank you for that.
Yes. So again, how do people connect with your services?
Okay. They can find me, our website, which really talks about all of our programs, as we only talked about a few, strategic-solutions.global. They can find me on Instagram, send me a quick DM, Strategic Solutions LLC _. I'm also on Facebook as Strategic Solutions LLC. And they can send me an email if they'd like to nancy@strategicsolutionsllc.org.
Yes. Wow. This is great, Nancy. And we're going to be following you because we want to definitely hear about the development with your youth program. And I know how that goes when you're launching things. It's excitement and all kinds of goodies. And a year from now, you're going to be telling us that you're in this country, you're now in this country. It's now in 5 different languages.
I would like to offer the audience, we have a leadership development program. We're actually taking women this October, from 5 different countries. They're meeting us in Lagos, Nigeria. And we are going to do experiential leadership development. And on the last day, we're streaming it live. And so the audience is more than welcome to join me live on October 18th if they register. Again, on my social media platforms, the link is there. Also on the website, the link is there to register for the Leadership Expo. And so we're empowering women in leadership, specifically Black women. I'm a problem solver. So when I discovered that 21% of women are in C-suite executives, and I saw that 1% of Black women were in C-suite executive positions, I knew that I needed to do something about that. And so we are putting on this Leadership Expo to truly empower women to embrace their voice and be in positions of leadership and authority and truly create the change that they want for themselves, because they have the power to do so. And so that's what the Leadership Expo is about. So that's another way they can connect with us. I'm all about global collaboration. And so anyone who joins, they'll actually have an opportunity to do a networking mixer live online with people all around the world.
All right. Now, so make sure we get that, because
I'll send you the link.
Yeah, okay. We love things like that.
Yes, indeed.
So, Nancy, it has been a blast. We have definitely enjoyed this collaboration with you. And we already know there's going to be more, because we will definitely be following everything that you're doing. And I'm just grateful and honored that you said yes to Just Minding My Business Media. So
Well,
thank you
thank you
so
for
much.
having me. Thank you for, saying yes to me as well. So mutual joy factor here.
Absolutely.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Wonderful.